Good morning, everyone. As Anna said, we will have two speakers, Vladan Ivetic and Barbara Mariotti, from the cost action CA19128, PEN-CAFoRR, the Pan-European Network for Climate Adaptive Forest Restoration and Reforestation. So PEN-CAFoRR is an action that has been running since 2020, so it's now its third year. And Vladan and Barbara will show us the results that they have achieved so far and how you can connect and interact with the cost actions, with this cost action. So as I said, PEN-CAFoRR started 2 years and a half ago, and has around 200 members, if I'm not mistaken. Vladan, perhaps you can correct me in there. So Vladan is the action chair for the action, and Barbara is the vice chair. And I am the science officer for the action, so that's why I have the honor of introduce you to this webinar, and I will be moderating the questions during this at the end of this session. So I guess that Vladan and Barbara are the best to tell you about PEN-CAFoRR. So Vladan, perhaps the floor is yours, and you can start your presentation.
Well, thank you, Angelo. Actually, I'm just a pretty face in this cost action, and the brain behind it is Barbara. So Barbara will give you the presentation about what we have achieved so far, what we are doing right now, and what are our final outcomes that we are getting to reach. So actually, Barbara will give presentation. Barbara, please.
Okay, thank you, Vladan. Thank you, Angelo. Obviously, I'm not the brain behind the action. We are working together, and I'm going to share my screen in order to present you our action. Okay, thank you very much, and hi everyone, and thank you for joining us this morning. I would like to start briefly introducing myself. I am a researcher at University of Florence, and my researchers belong to the big field of silviculture, with a special focus on natural and artificial regeneration in relation to several disturbances, with a special focus on the quality of the nursery material. So on the seedlings that are used to restore and to the ecosystems. This is why I was so glad to join the network of proposers of this action. This is my research field has been in the past quite underestimated, while it is one of the key points that need to be addressed for a successful and climate adaptive forest restoration and reforestation. There are 4 main points that, according to our opinion, but not only obviously, need to be addressed. The first one is to create a sort of common ground, a conceptual framework for all of us to work and share experiences. But also we need to operate, to work at operative level. So we have to focus on the best material in terms of genetic quality, so the selection of the material, the nursery material to be used for forest restoration, but obviously, as I said before, the quality in terms of cultural practices to be used in nursery to have the good seedlings to be successful in the field. But this is not enough. We need to take care of the seedlings after planting. So we need to focus on establishing the seedlings and to guide the development of the new forest ecosystem in the future. So we need also to focus on silviculture. So these are the main research questions, and not only research, but also at practice level question that we are addressing, starting from the idea that to collect and then exchange local experiences is fundamental to direct future research and future practices in forest restoration, because at local level there are many successful experience in terms of approaches, in terms of methods, in terms of solutions, and we need to learn from this and to collect them in order to share as much as possible knowledge in this field. At the beginning, the network of proposers was made of 67 members from 25 countries, but now the number is more than doubled with 142 members from 37 countries. And people are coming from all over Europe. Almost all countries are represented, at least with 2 members. But we have a special focus on not only from Serbia, the country of our chair, but also from the Mediterranean countries, Spain, Italy, and Turkey. And please consider that Mediterranean ecosystems are the most fragile under climate change. They are at risk of degradation and desertification. So they are not only changing, but they risk to be degraded. So this is why Mediterranean scientists and practitioners are really interested in our action. This picture was taken from our website. This is just to introduce you our management structure and the people that are contributing to the success of this action. So the people leading with us the action. Not so beyond Vladan and me, we have 4 working groups with people from all countries of Europe. So all the area of Europe are represented in our management structure: Baltic countries, northern countries, and Mediterranean countries. So these are our working group leader, and these others are our co-leaders. So they are contributing and sharing responsibilities with the leaders from different countries. And we are really proud to have with us 3 young women, early career investigator, Eva Bebre from Germany, Gordana Kaplan from Turkey, and Ivona Karkjankovic from Serbia. They are very good scientists and very good leader for our action. And for those of you that are familiar with the forest sector, they maybe know that to have a good gender balance in the forest sector is quite difficult. So we are very proud to have them with us. And also we are working very well with Angelo from our science officer, and Kashmon Nimprang, our administrative officer. And the pillar of our action, Mirjana, our grant holder manager, obviously from University of Belgrade. So this is just to introduce us. As I said before, our action is structured in 4 working groups. Each working group is aimed to address a different question. At the beginning, I said that we are addressing 4 main problems. The first one is aiming at the goal. So the first working group is working on the conceptual framework of our action. We need to build a robust, a strong base ground where we can share experiences. So we need to focus, for example, on what is success for climate adaptive forest restoration and reforestation, which is the right terminology. Sometimes across countries we call differently the same practice or vice versa. So we need to agree on how we call some practices, methods, and so on, in order to share correctly our experiences. But we need also to focus on the best material to face the changes. Under the climate change, it is important to build the forest of the future to guarantee the future forest ecosystem services to the future generations. So we have to select the best material to guarantee biodiversity and to guarantee the survival of the forest in the future. And this is what they are doing in working group 2. But as I said at the beginning, also the quality of the material produced in nursery is another key pillar of the success of forest restoration projects. So we have working group 3 where quality matters. So production and quality of forest reproductive material. And because the quality of the material is not an absolute concept. It is a relative concept in relation to the different projects, in relation to the different aims, in relation to the different social economical context where we are working. There is no one material good for every project. We need to fit the purpose. This is why we have a specific focus on that. And then planting for the future. We need to establish the seedlings to facilitate their establishment in the forest and also to guide the future development of the forest. This is why we have Planting for the Future Working Group 4 led by Palle Matre from Denmark. All groups are, especially the practical one, are really crowded, but we are proud of that. There are many members which are very actively contributing to that. So this is the achievements, what we have done up to date. You have here the list of our meetings, training schools, short-term scientific mission, and so on, divided by grant period. Obviously, the numbers of grant period 3 are lower. We are at the beginning, but something has already changed. We have 2 more co-authored publications that were just submitted. So we are going on and we are speeding up our action. This is why I would like to provide you some highlights of what we have done up to date. These 2 nice pictures were taken during 2 training schools, the first one in Denmark and the other one in Spain, just to show you the variety of interests that are part of forest restoration and reforestation. In the first one, global thinking materialized into site-specific silvicultural action is the way of thinking that we are trying to spread. So to transfer global thinking to site-specific situation, to spread knowledge and to apply that knowledge to our specific project. And this is related to reforestation in Denmark specifically. On the other side, we have a degraded environment, so mine reclamation in a dry area of Spain. So a completely different situation, a completely different approach, but both of them part of our interest. We are really focused on dryland restoration. We know that one of the main effects of climate change is the risk of desertification, is drought also, where drought was not present before. So this is why we decided to have our first live thematic workshop in Israel, where we could experience very effective and nice practice to protect vegetation and to recreate vegetation in drylands and in the desert. So new shrubs, herbs, and trees where there was nothing before. And these were really interesting for all of us. But obviously, some highlights have to be given also regarding our meeting. As Angelo said before, our action started during the pandemic year. So we started organizing our activities online. We obviously, as all of us, we are not prepared to do that. But the warm and friendly atmosphere that we could experience during the live meeting speeded up all our action. So not only during our first core group meeting in Belgrade, but also in our first management committee in Florence. This is why all our activities that were already started were pushed to go on, and now we are running. Another interesting highlight, in our opinion, is related to some the products that we have realized, which are our website, the PEN-CAFoRR website, and our YouTube channel. Our website, how can I say it? We decided at the beginning, Vladan and I, how to run it. We decided to save budget, so to have a homemade website, and to use it to share our experience, to share our results. This is why we are. This was made by Vladan, mainly Vladan and this team. But we are very proud to collect all our experiences here. Research protocol and training material will be uploaded soon, but we have a very nice gallery of pictures, of best practice pictures, which were uploaded by our members, and that can be downloaded and then can be shared, citing of the source and with a very short caption. This is we are very proud of this part of our work, and we have also a YouTube channel where we uploaded a video to explain our action to the youngest generation, and not only, but also to all which are not strictly familiar with forest restoration and reforestation. And then we have a lot of very nice and important publications. Some of them were the product of targeted networking among our members and other external institutions, as the first one, where we published a very nice and robust analysis regarding the importance of the size of the seedlings in relation to the site, climate, and the species stress resistance. But also, which is an activity that we tackled during the meeting of Working Group 3, but also Working Group 2 with the importance of the different provenances. So different provenances of within the geographical distribution of the species can have a different behavior in relation to the climate. So here, freezing and heating tolerance. This is another important point to choose the best material. And this is a very important publication too, because we decided not to upload it in our website, but to make it published for the scientific community. This is a study that was launched within our action, and we decided to publish before the end of the study all the protocols, so it can be repeated by other scientists, and this is the product of members of our action, especially leading members of our action. This one is also another important publication. It is related to non-native tree species. Non-native tree species are present in all countries across Europe, but we do not know so much about them, how to deal with them. Some of them can be invasive, but others can be used successfully for forest restoration, for example, for instance, in relation to the wood or non-wood products. But we need to know how to deal with them. We need to know something more about the legislation framework, if it is possible to use them or not. So this is a very nice activity that was led by Antonello Montagnoli, University of Insubria, within the working group 2. This is what we have done so far, but we have obviously ongoing activities. Here you have a very long list of them. Just to say that we have 17 deliverables. Some of them were already delivered, and some will be completed by the end of the action. Among these, we are very proud to announce that we have already published our forest restoration wiki page. Again, as we did for the website, the forest restoration wiki page was realized by Vladan and his team of people. It was thought and planned within working group 1. We decided to make it public at the end of grant period 2 in order to encourage our members to contribute to it. And we want to encourage all the scientific and practitioners community to contribute to it. We have published instruction on how to use this, how to contribute to this, and we decided also not to publish only in English, but also to translate it, obviously at the beginning in the language that we are more familiar with among members. But we would like to add members, experts, and native speakers of other languages in order to increase the languages in translation of our forest wiki page. And here we want to include experience, tools, materials, products, solutions, terminology. We want to create a page available also after the end of our action, something that could be useful for our community also in the future. Another very interesting activity that we have already carried out that was delivered at the end of grant period 1 is this one related to the sustainable alternative materials for growing media. Maybe you don't know that peat is the most widely used alternative material in the forest nurseries to grow the seedlings. But this is not a sustainable material in relation to the fragility of the peatlands. The peatlands are also carbon sinks, so we need to look for something new, something alternative, and this is the first review that we have just submitted for the forest sector in relation to sustainable and new materials. This activity was led by Claudia Cocotta, University of Florence. Another very interesting study was made about the scientific knowledge, legislation, and practical experiences in defining the quality of forest planting material in Europe. This activity was led by Milan Mataruga, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and it is crucial to try to standardize the quality of the especially in relation to the legislation framework, to standardize the control of the quality of the material. What resulted from this activity is that Europe, in this particular issue, is really fragmented, and the control is of a very high quality in some countries, but in others very low. So we need to improve and standardize the level of control in all across Europe. So to make the point, to describe the state of the art is a very important starting point for that. As I said before, we have published the protocol of a study that was launched within our action. This activity was launched by Professor Alex Leverkus, University of Granada, Spain. It is a European scale study with more than 60 members. 25 are coming from working group 3. This is an activity of working group 3, where we are comparing seedlings produced in nursery versus seedlings directly seeded in the ground of the site. only for Quercus species. So the results not only will provide the efficiency of different methods and solutions, but also it can provide information about the adaptability of different species of the same genus in different environments of Europe and not only. Another very important product of our action will be the compendium on the best practices for cultivating and establishing main European forest trees. We have 17 members, but we are growing in this activity, which is transversal across working groups. The coordinator of this activity is Pedro Villar Salvador from Spain, leader of Working Group 3. We are collecting innovative experience, not only from official literature, but also from manuals and gray literature in order to have the state of the art of what is more effective to grow and plant the most important species of Europe. And this will be the second part or the second volume of I said at the beginning there will be two most important deliverables. One is our forest wiki page. The other one is this book where we want to collect guidelines for forest reforestation and restoration under climate change, starting from the conceptual framework to the silviculture of the ecosystem, the forest ecosystem that can be created. So all the deliverables coming from the different working groups will be collected here, and this is together with the forest wiki page is the most important product of our action to be used after the lifetime of our action. We are also cooperating with different projects at different scales, local scale, national scale, but also European scale. We are cooperating with a big Horizon 2020 project, superb upscaling forest restoration, led by Elisabeth Putzelberger from Austria and the European Forest Institute. This is a very big project made of about 36 different participants, institutions, 27 million of total budget, and they are dealing with forest restoration too. Elizabeth is part of our core group as supervisor, so our communication is facilitated because Vladan is leading one of the group that are participating to the superb project, and we have two different aspects in common. For example, the superb project has a super gateway, sort of online collection of good practices for forest restoration. So we can have a very good connection with our forest wiki page. But this is not not enough. We have also a collaboration regarding the definition of the right terminology for forest restoration and reforestation. So connection with working group 1, but also with working group 4. For example, some demo areas such as the one in Serbia could be incorporated to in Serbia for the superb project could be incorporated in the network of the experiment proposed in working group 4. So I would like to end showing you a video of the weather condition that that we had during our first training school in Denmark. Most of the time it was raining, but as Palle Madsen, leader of working group 4, said during this training school, we do not care about weather condition, we learn how to deal with it. this is the approach that we have to deal with forest restoration and reforestation under climate change. So if you are interested, please join us, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Barbara, and thank you, Vladan, for the presentation and for all the work with the action, of course. There is one question, in fact, just in relation to what you said about joining the action. So Murat Sarcinci from Turkey is working also on forest ecosystems and the impact of climate change on forest ecosystems. So he asked us how to join the action, if it's still possible, which I can anticipate it is. So the action will end in October 2024. So even though there is 1 year and a half left in the action, it is possible to join. And if you can give more instructions briefly about how to. And perhaps I think also it's a chance if you want to remark some examples or colleagues that you have working in PEN-CAFoRR in Turkey.
Turkey is very well represented, as I said at the beginning, in our action. We have almost 20 people from Turkey. So you can obviously check who they are in our website, where we have the pictures and the link to the website of every member that provided us the information. But we obviously you can also register on the ECOS platform and apply, clicking on working group application, apply and to our action. Maybe Vladan raised the hand, and so he wants to add something to that.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Barbara. Yes, Murat, you are welcome to join in. The best and only, let's say, official way is to apply on ECOS platform, because now we count only members who are officially applied through that systems. And why I raised my hand regarding this question is just to notice that Angelo said at the very beginning that we have around 200 members. And this is actually true, because lots of very active work group members still did not make this simple technical step of registering through ECOS system. And they are very active. And unfortunately, we have a large number of management committee members also who did not did it. So as you see, we are very active. There is still plenty of room for cooperation to contribute. So Murat, thank you for your question. You are more than welcome to join us.
Thank you, Vladan, and thank you, Barbara. I wanted to ask to both of you, as the approach of PEN-CAFoRR is really that of cost action. So it's a very bottom-up approach, that of promoting and spreading excellence to solve a societal challenge. So that's really from our mission, from our priorities and values. And you cited local examples. So to both of you, if you have one local example that you would give as a place for experience how adaptive reforestation can best works, and perhaps to motivate your answer.
Please, Vladan. Vladan has a lot of very nice experience to show. And so, Vladan, please.
Well, if I need to highlight one local experience, it's not from my country. It's from Denmark. It's from this first training school. And this is, let's say, the Danish people were lucky in this sense that they lost all their forests some 150 years ago. So they are starting from zero, from baseline, and this give foresters a freedom to try different approaches. So in sense of climate adaptive forest restoration, we saw very good examples of species mixtures, of provenances mixtures working very well in forests. Of course, we saw good examples, good successful sites, let's say, successful restoration project, and some unsuccessful. And by my opinion, this was the main idea behind writing a proposal from very beginning, to collect those local knowledges, to give it for free to other colleagues, and maybe to synthesize some general knowledge which can be applied at not all places. There is no single silver bullet, but to have, let's say, some basic frameworks on how to approach restoration in changing environment. So if I need to emphasize one single example, local example, local experience, it is species mixtures in Denmark. It was I don't know. I'm from Serbia, and Serbian spruce, Picea morica, is of course very of high significance for us. Unfortunately, I have seen it's highly protected in Serbia, for example, but I have seen in Denmark that they are using it just like a nurse plant for Acer pseudoplatanus. So something that is so valuable to us, they are using just like a nurse plant, which is just cut, so this is very good experience regarding to how open-minded we need to be to face climate change.
We are also glad to have Palle Madsen from Denmark with us. He was a professor at university, but he is working as practitioners now. So he is a very good link between practice and science. He has the right approach, and he knows how to link these two worlds that sometimes are a little bit disconnected. So science go on for innovation, and practices sometimes is a little bit behind, or sometimes ahead. We don't know, but Palle has a very good approach regarding, and this is why we are really proud to have him in our group, working group to focus and link science and practice.
Okay. Thank you, Vladan, and thank you, Barbara. I had a question in relation to the Mediterranean region that you mentioned. And I wanted to ask you if you have participants from the southern Mediterranean, which are many nearest neighbor countries for costs. And in general, if on the topic of reforestation, the southern Mediterranean region has the same attention of the northern Mediterranean region.
We have some people from neighborhood countries and southern Mediterranean region, yes. Mediterranean region, we have the, for example, I'm speaking for Italy, but it is true also for Greece and Spain, for example. We have a very high variability of different environments. So we are dealing with very different situations. For example, in Italy, we have the southern regions at risk of desertification, and northern regions that are very similar to the central or Balkanic countries. So we have attention on that. Maybe we have, due to our different organization of legislation and bureaucracy, we are a little bit behind, also because in most cases we are poorer countries than the northern one. So we have less resources invested in reforestation, because this is mainly an issue managed by public bodies, and you know that there are other topics that usually are considered more important than forests in this kind of allocating budgets for the public bodies, especially in Mediterranean countries. But there is a very high attention by practitioners and foresters. This is in Spain, we have a lot of people really expert in forest restoration, and especially under climate change. They have focused on this topic for a long time, so they are very expert, and we have them in our working group, in our core group, and this is an added value to our action. I don't know if Vladan want to add.
No, I just would like to add that from very beginning we had members from Algeria and from Jordan, for example. Well, unfortunately, they are not so active. Maybe it's our failures as leadership not to involve them too much, but this is something, this is pan-European network, of course. It's European platform, but we are looking for broader picture. We are aiming for people from those regions which we can anticipate that our climate will be similar in the future. So this is very important region for us, Southern Mediterranean, and not just in Europe, but also in around the world.
Thank you. There is a reminder about the training school that you are organizing between the 3rd and 7th of July. So can you share with us more about this training school, and is there a possibility to join the training school for trainees still?
Yes. So this is training school organized by Dagnia from Latvia. She is co-leader of work group 1, and this is a training school which will be announced soon. So anyone who is interested is welcome to apply. Of course, we will follow the official steps in evaluation of applications and everything, but we like to have more participants in our training schools, because this is one of our main goals, to share this kind of view with young PhD students, and the training schools are the best platform for that. And so sorry, Angel, it will be announced soon. So we are working on technical details. Dagnia Lazdina organized everything, as I know already. So we just need to let's say officially announce it on our website, on social medias. You can also follow our action on different social medias. We have one young colleague, very capable. So these are the best ways to be informed on our actions, of what we are organizing, and what results that we are publishing.
Yeah. So thank you, Vladan, and thank you, Dagnia, for organizing the training school. Just because it's an announcement, it's a training school on Nordic Baltic forest regeneration and establishment practices. So that is the announcement also of the title that I'm proud to give. As we are approaching towards the end of our time slot, there is one question about forest fires, if they are considered in this action.
They are not directly addressed. We consider obviously the post-fire situation, so the degradation of the forest ecosystem environment, and so the best practices to recover it. So the best site preparation and the best seedlings according to different environments. So this is, we do not have a specific focus on forest fire, but they are part of our wide interest within the action.
Yeah, we are tackling this issue in this work group 2. with a selection of species and genotypes more resistant to forest fires. So as Barbara said, we usually deal with post-fire consequences. We need to restore ecosystems after forest fire, but we are also looking to address this issue by giving recommendations for species and genotypes more to establish more ecosystems, forest ecosystems more resilient to forest fires. But we are not specifically focused on forest fires per se.
Yeah, thank you. There is indeed, if I'm not mistaken, one running cost action on forest fires. And this also is, of course, connected to PEN-CAFoRR and allows me to speak about the cost connect activities that we have. So when we have, to go back to cost terminology, a critical mass of actions, we have the opportunity to favor the interaction between cost actions. And for instance, biodiversity is another topic on which there are several cost actions that are connected with PEN-CAFoRR. So this is an invite to browse on our website for running cost actions and to interact with it, possibly more than one of the actions. So thank you. Just approaching the closure of this hour, thanking you both. I just would like to recall the gallery that you showed during your presentation. So on the PEN-CAFoRR website, there are, I think, hundreds, if not thousands of pictures. And you gave the instructions about the reuse of these pictures. But it's a very valuable resource, I think, to spread awareness on about the action. So I'm sure it can be useful to many speakers in particular.
If I can add, if
yeah.
someone wants to contribute to and send their picture, you can write us, Vlad and me, and we can consider to upload new and valuable pictures to increase our collection.
Thank you, Barbara. Indeed, also, of course, for the wiki, the openness, again, going back to action value, to cost values, the openness of the wiki is also something very valuable for the action. So I'm sure that with more contributors, it can become a very excellent result of the action. So I do not see further questions in the section. So I take this occasion to thank you both for the work and for the presentation of the action.